Hello everyone, it is season 11 of ALR Gold and it is the season review and rewards, or awards actually, not rewards, unless you guys are going to be rewarded by mine and Alex's presence here tonight. And this was what I was going to say was an absolute fantastic season. Of course, we got the 100% first, so before we get into any of the juiciness then, the 100% attendance, 3 drivers then took part in all 23 races, not 24, because we decided to do the Euros. And it is, congratulations, he's in the part of the most unluckiest drivers, but Chappers has just won a grand prize, Alex. That's fantastic, isn't it? What a way to start.
Yeah, good stuff. And welcome along everybody to the lovely Gold Season 11 review. Of course, here in Mexico, where we crowned the champion as well. Then, but well done to Chappers, Sam Swift, and Immortal. Then 100% attendance. And although, like I said, we missed one round back in Japan right at the beginning of the season because of the some football or something. I don't know what's going on, horrible stuff. So there we go. But 23 rounds still fantastic stuff indeed from Gold as we get ourselves into the heat of the action straight away.
I thought that was Chappers that went off then, but that would have been ironic, wouldn't it? But this season, for season 11, I was absolutely buzzing when we started off in the desert of Bahrain. By the way, buzzing is actually a new specialist journalism word, isn't it? But yes, I was buzzing because we had 4 champions on the grid. We had Sam Swift, of course, the defending champion. We had Percy, who was a champion in season 8. Season 9. The season 8 champion was Troy, and then we had German from season 6 as well. Plus, we had Brabbit, the champion from silver, and we had Delando, the champion from bronze as well. Goodness me, there's champions all over the show, as well as AC Immortal, the champion from 100%. Goodness me, we had champions coming out of our ears. Alex said, going into the season. Then I must say that was a very much we were a sport for choice for champions, weren't we?
Yeah, I have to say all of them are champions in my eyes, apart from me. I was just making up the numbers there, but no, it was a fantastic season, and obviously credit to all drivers who've been performing at the highest level in different divisions in ALR, obviously in other divisions as well, and of course at the top of Gold at the same time in most cases as well. Then so apart from myself there, but that was absolutely fantastic to watch and to be part of as well. Then for this season 11.
It really was, and potentially the strongest grid that we've ever had in ALR Gold. Then that was just off the top of my head. Potentially, maybe not statistically, potentially, but there's certainly who's who of potentially who's going to be a part of this championship battle this season. And I was very much going into Bahrain and Saudi Arabia and Australia. I was really looking forward to seeing who was going to do what. Then, of course, Sam Swift Ninja, quite an inexperienced driver when it comes to ALR Formula One racing, but. Of course, remember, he won in his debut season and toppling Percy, who was absolutely incredible. Remember back in season 9 when he had an incredible showdown between himself and I think it was Boxtal at one stage as well. Of course, Boxtal came off the back of season 10 then he was superb in season 10, wasn't he, Boxtal? But towards the end of the season, it kind of fell apart for Boxtal. And Alex, and when your season has a difficult end to the season going into next season, does it affect the season after then? Because I felt it did for Boxstar this season.
Yeah, it definitely seemed to. I think obviously it was a bit of a change as well in terms of the switching from F1 23 to 24 as well here. But yes, I think there was some differences in not abilities, obviously, because it's top tier. I think everyone's got fantastic ability, to be fair. But I think there was just a difference in adaptability, I suppose you could say, in some senses. And I think Geordie had other things going on as well outside of the racing scene as well, which were causing a few issues. But hopefully he can bounce back in season 12.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say, no, do I say it, Alex? Because let's be honest, every time I say something, it doesn't go right. I was going to say that, Box had a difficult season this season. Sadly, I think I only got one podium in the end now. As you can see, Percy taking a very early lead. But it's going to be a sign of things to come in this one, where Sam Swift and Percy are just going to yo-yo around. But Box only had one podium. And remember that Box only up to this season had always finished in second or third in the Drivers' Championship. Then, so I am expecting Boxer to be a major thorn in the side for a lot of for the championship rivals next season. Most improved then is our first award coming up, and AC Immortal then absolutely. And of course, he ended the season with 2 Grand Prix wins to AC Immortal and finished in the top 3 of the World Championship for the first time in his career. Absolutely supreme was Immortal, and of course getting a couple of pole positions along the way as well. I think he had 6 in the end, along with Menace, who I think who also had 6 as well. Menace making his debut this season. But yeah, AC Immortal, we've seen how well he was in the 100% there, and of course did a good job there. Knowlesy, you said you're making up the numbers. Well, obviously not, because you got second then, or runner up in the most improved this season then, and I think a really strong end to the season. I think the first season was a bit difficult for you, but the second half of the season was much more fruitful from your point of view, and really helped the Alpine team move up a couple of positions towards the end of that season, which I know that not a lot of drivers care about that, but I certainly do. I do love the constructors. And your teammate Brabett, who, as we mentioned, had a difficult season last season, very similar to Troy, in my opinion, where Troy had a very difficult first couple of races to a season in ALR Gold, but then when he got his feet under the table, remember Troy became the Season 8 champion, that classic season where it is free fighting for the championship. But Brabett this season, absolutely supreme stuff indeed for Brabett, with a pole position and 2 podiums as well to his name, and I think only DNF once this season. But those 3 candidates for most improved, Alex, including yourself, I think that was a pretty good motley crew.
Yeah, I think, well, to be fair, compared to last season, maybe not so myself, but especially for Immortal and for B Rabbit as well, then Immortal's come on leaps and bounds. Actually, to be fair, I think he was challenging in gold last season, but I think, like you said, towards the end of this season as well, converted a few of those strong qualifying into strong point scoring performances and wins as well. Then at the end of the season too. So credit to Immortal then, and obviously B Rabbit then after his first season in gold, coming up then from silver after winning the title, then he's absolutely just smashed it this season as well. And it's been brilliant to have him as a teammate, because he's been doing all the hard work for me in the constructors standings.
Totally, me and you are like 2 peas in the pod, because I have a feeling that someone else says the same thing about me in 100%. But anyway, that's a different story for a different day. And those three drivers then, for yourself, for Brabett and for Immortal, do you think that you guys would be involved in a championship campaign next season? What do you reckon that those 3 drivers, including yourself, will be aiming for next season?
Well, obviously, I'm going to aim to win it. It'll be easy stuff for me. I'll absolutely storm the field and win, no problem at all. No, aside from that, I'm just going to hope to avoid relegation. But I think, like I said, the other 2, Immortal and Rabbit, and well, as you said earlier as well, that I think there's probably everybody else on the grid apart from me that can probably challenge for podiums and for wins as well in this, or from this season and into next season, hopefully as well, for those sticking on then. So yeah, I think there's no limits then in that sense, but definitely limits for myself.
And I don't want to sing you out here, Alex. That's very harsh of me. But the 2 of the 3 in that most improved category had been champions in the past. Of course, with Brabett getting the silver championship and AC and Morton getting 100%. Do you reckon that's going to help him? Like, do you reckon that's going to help him in maybe challenging for title next season?
Yeah, I think so. I know, like I said, the only thing they can do is just use it to push on really now as well. Then obviously we're not changing the engine, I suppose you'd say, in terms of the simulation that we're racing on next season as well compared to this season. So it'll be just where you can find those few tenths of improvements in qualifying then, and making sure you're keeping all the consistency together in the races as well, and yeah, really cruise on and get some or maximise what you can do in the races from this season as well.
You mentioned the Q word there, and that was qualifying. Qualifying quite unique in gold, then, because gold is the only championship that has 3-part qualifying, where we go for qualifying 1, 2, and 3. It's one that is very long qualifying. I think it's longer than the race in total. You did break into qualifying 2 a few times, and I can't remember. You may have broken into qualifying 3 once as well, maybe. But with that elongated qualifying session, does that change the dynamic of the racing for yourself, Alex? I know that in the past we used to have that tire rule, didn't we? Where if you qualified on the same tires, you did have to start the race on them. But is that a crucial part of racing in gold?
No, not really. Same as short quality. You just have to make sure you use the tires you want to use and save the tires you want to save, sort of thing. So if you can get through, it's just a plus or not in my case. So yeah.
There's me like trying to like think, oh, that's going to be important. Obviously not. You can see that after I think that was round 4. If I get me old specs out, Percy was leading very slenderly at the moment. And the Haas team, of course, they had Keza and Troy in that Haas team, and I was expecting big things for the Haas team. We'll talk about those two drivers in just a jiffy then. But the Haas taking an early lead in the constructors championship, up to the most consistent this season, and you had to be consistent, don't you? Because there's 24 rounds. And up next is Coop, as in soup. Because sadly that's Serious Mushroom's fault. He always gives me all these nicknames, doesn't he? Coop driving the Aston Martin and one half of the team that was challenger for the constructors as well. As we teleport to Singapore on our mobile device, Alex. Fantastic, indeed. There, we're very much in the future now, and going over the Anderson Bridge. So, of course, Coop. I think Coop's had a very solid season, to be honest. And has DNF'd only, I think, it's 6 times by the looks of this. By the looks of me stats here, then. So really good 17. Cooper's not DNF'd at all. I apologise. I've got wonky eyes. Then we got Keza, of course. I was harsh with Kez. I must say, I know we're trying to be most consistent because he was consistent. Kez only had 1 DNF, and I'm thinking 33 odd starts. I think he's got more than that now. He's got 50 odd starts. He's only ever DNF twice, which is a very consistent indeed then for Kez then, but didn't get that Grand Prix win, and I thought he was going to break through. And last but not least is Equals then. Another driver that has got a Grand Prix win to his name, and Equals, just like Coop, I corrected myself this time, 22 starts for Equals, no DNFs at all. And in a 23 round season, that is absolutely epic, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, fantastic. And like I said, consistency is key. As I say, every season review and every time we do one of these sort of things. But those 3 drivers then have been absolutely epic this season in terms of, like I said, minimising the DNFs. Of course, they didn't. Sometimes it didn't go their way in races, but that's the same for the majority of racing and majority of league racing as well. Then, but I think, like I said, overall they maximise what they can get out of races each week, week in, week out, and of course turned up and put the performances in as well. Then to the best of their ability. So credit to obviously Cooper, then Keza and Equaz as well. Then who have been the most consistent, or 3 of the most consistent this season, I should say.
And Equus only missed the last Grand Prix, which is very harsh indeed. So he did race 22 times this season for Equus, and Equus had a bit of a difficult start to this season. He got an 8th position there, but he went on I think it's about a 5 round streak with no points before he struck it big with a 5th position in Monaco. With these seasons so long, of course, this is the longest season in gold history, longest season in ALR history as well. And with these long seasons, Alex, how is it crucial? Is it not so crucial then to have times where you're just not scoring any points then? Or is it crucial to always score points because the points seems to be out like free candy these days?
Yeah, I think we need to try and make sure you get the best points you can get each race, obviously. But with it being a longer season, there's good and bad points to that sort of thing. There, obviously, you can have a dip in form, and then still be able to recover that in latter parts of the season as well. But of course, like I said, if you're on the top of the form at the beginning and flying high, then potentially there's the chance that you could be knocked off the pedestal as well. Then, so it. Of course, it can vary, especially through different tracks, different layouts, and obviously the different drivers that are going to be attacking you into first turn here.
And to be honest, wherever you looked, there was cars everywhere. Goodness me! I must admit, actually, I shouldn't keep bringing up my racing experiences because I keep doing it now. I'm a seasoned veteran now, you see, Alex, after my 1 season in 100%. But I got very spooked actually when I was racing Sick as Muck in Singapore. There was that back straight down Raffles Boulevard, and there's a kink, and I was so concerned about Sick as Muck, I think I steered it to the side of it by accidentally. I was surprised I didn't get a penalty for that, to be honest. But how difficult is it to keep your eye very much on your competitors, but as well as on the circuit as well? Or is it just a natural thing for you superhumans out there?
Natural thing for the 19 superhumans out there, yes, and then me. I'm hoping that I just don't cause any carnage and get out of the way of everything that's going on. Really, to be fair, I think yeah, it's sort of almost human nature now for most of these guys. Then they're absolutely incredible on the track. Then, and of course, with the speed, obviously you can have great speed, but you need to have the racecraft and the ability as well, and to keep control of the car at the same point. And like I said, I think for the majority of this season, all drivers have done a fantastic job. I think it's been one of the best in terms of a gold season. That is for yeah, like I said, just consistency over the grid. Then that is, and just putting good performances in and not worrying too much about other bits and pieces that are going wrong.
No, I must say there's so much going wrong and right in every race, and of course there's the standards. And after round 8 in Monaco, I think that is. Oh goodness me! You know what, Alex? I'm going to have to get a bigger screen. But Sam Swift Ninja, of course, leading the way there, says overtaken Percy, and that, as I keep saying, that is basically the theme of this season. It's just them two swapping positions, swapping Grand Prix wins as well. I think in the end, Sam Swift got 10, and Lucas Percy got 9 or 8 in the end. Williams there have taken the lead. Haas had a really good start to the season, but then of course they started to drop down a bit there and started to really struggle. We'll come back to the Haas there, as I think I've already said that once, but let's say it again. Best performance, and this is the performance of a individual race, and of course Menacer, who this is his first full season this season in Grand Prix racing in ALR, and of course taking a Grand Prix win as well was Menace, and of course they're fighting here in Miami then, which I must say I wasn't expecting any rain in Miami, but we certainly had a bit of the wet stuff, and it really did cause a lot of chaos there. But as we're just seeing Menace there as well, there, of course, Sam Swift getting the runner-up prize, which is very unusual for Sam Swift, because every single race, every single thing he's been a part of in ALR, he has won, basically, hasn't he? A serial winner is Sam Swift, but at the moment now, second then in the best performances as he comes out the final turn there to take a victory in Mexico. And I think that we already seen a part of this review that he was facing the wrong way with no wing after turn 1, lap 1 there from Sam Swift there. Absolutely superb stuff indeed. But then it was Indigo who, of course, has won that award. Then, of course, Indigo parachuted into the Mercedes team and really helped Mercedes elevate themselves to third in the constructors in the end there for Indigo. And I think it was the performance in Austin. It was indeed then. He was, I must say, Alex, I was commentating on this race not too long ago, to be fair, and it was an absolutely superb performance from Indigo. But literally, since he stepped foot in that Mercedes car in USA, Indigo was absolutely, I reckon he was possessed.
Yeah, I think, well, to be fair, for both, all three drivers, I should say, the Menace Max and Sam Swift, and of course challenging for the title in the majority of the season. Indigo then jumped into the Mercedes, like you said, a few rounds into this, or actually probably over halfway actually into the season, and just cracked on with it, really, didn't he? So he did a good job. They got quite a few podiums under his belt and some good performances then for Mercedes, then helping Mercedes in the constructors with Immortal as well, and who of course was challenging then for the top 3 in the driver standing. So I think fantastic stuff. And both, or all 3, I should say, sorry, fantastic performances. Then I have to say, Sam Swift did a fantastic job here in Mexico, of course. But I think Menace Max, I think, actually started from the back of the grid then in Miami and got himself onto the podium there. Indigo then had a horrible qualifying one then, which I think he's famous for this season, having a difficult qualifying one and then bouncing back in the race, and he got himself all the way up into P2 then in Austin. So absolutely brilliant performances then from all 3.
Yeah, 7 others Indigo in qualifying, because he looked very quick out the blocks, but I'm wondering, I can't remember if he retired early or whatnot. But you were right. Unfortunately, Indigo's qualifying might be an Achilles heel, but if Indigo gets that sorted, then a bit of consistency, he could be in the top 3 for next season as well, along with the other 18 or 19 drivers that we've been talking about. As you just got one of the McLarens there, has got a couple of issues there, unfortunately. But what was he talking? We was talking about the Haas team, weren't we? certainly. And the Haas had a really good start this season, but how difficult is it, Alex? I don't want to really put you on a bit of a downer, but how you've gone from, like Troy, you've gone from winning Grand Prix, Troy, of course, winning the championship, to kind of not being in the picture these days. Of course, yourself included, where you've been more in the bottom half of the standing set. How difficult, or how, or is it not difficult, where you have to like really get your mojo, find your what am I calling it? Find, of course, getting a bit of your pizzazz back. How difficult is it to get your motivation?
Oh, I'm happy where I am, to be fair. So I don't know. No, like I said, I'm happy to get a point every now and then in the races. Like I said, my aim is to get into the points. Obviously, there's other drivers in the gold grid that are aiming for a lot more than that each race. But no, it's part and parcel of just league racing, isn't it? You've got to just try and do the best you can each race as well, then and maximise the points you can get on the table. But yeah, I think there's quite a handful of gold drivers that are used to or capable, especially of going for the win in most races anyway, regardless of what track it is, what the situation is as well. Then yeah, so I think that's where expectations sort of run high, and obviously you do need to sort of maintain and manage your expectations sometimes, especially in league racing where anything can happen as well. Then, but no, I think well, for me personally, like you said, it's just yeah, I'm just happy to cruise around and have a nice race. So,
Well, to be honest, I don't think you've ever cruised around, to be honest, because these cars do not cruise around. Yeah, but towards the end of the season, you did have a very good solid end to the season. I must say, similar to. I can't remember who it was now. I think it was Kevin Magnussen, actually, but I was thinking of someone else. But Kevin Magnussen had a very strong end to the season as well. Lucas Purse is retaking the lead in the championship then, and very much yo-yoing around after. That was at the halfway point as well. And when I was looking at the standings at the halfway point, you couldn't really decide on who was going to be the favourite, because you couldn't really separate Percy and Sam Swift there. Sam Swift is coming like a bolt of lightning. Percy has been a part of the sport now for coming up to 100 Grand Prix, and so experience versus natural ability. Maybe I've got that wrong then, but two classes of stars, but they've been absolutely supreme stuff indeed. Then, of course, as we now go on to the best overtake, Alex, and of course, we got Cam in there first. Of course, Cam, the McLaren driver, who had a very difficult season, I must say, but both McLaren drivers, well, all three McLaren teams actually, in all three championships had an awful season, to be fair. But Cam having a good overtake here then, and on the outside going into Tarzan. Now, goodness gracious me, and I got to say, you need a lot of faith to go on the outside there. We have seen two championship rivals crash there in the past, haven't we, which is quite infamous, back in season 8, I believe it was. Brabant then is, of course, runner-up then. So Brabant, of course, has already an award winner, but unfortunately this time he is runner-up there for Brabant in the Alpine machine then, and looking very ghastly there. And of course, is going into Spain then, and going into the far corner, and there he is. And goodness gracious me, that's brave to go into the far corner. Of course, it's called far because he usually crashes there, to be honest. But great overtake indeed there for Brabant then. Of course, it's very narrow at that part of the circuit. And Coop, who's goodness gracious me, then we've got a lot of drivers that have really excelled this season, and Coop is one of them. He's back in there again, and this time Coop has won the award for the best overtake then, and of course it is in. It's at Singapore. It is indeed then, on the outside of turn 10, I believe it is. Wow, great stuff indeed there for Coop. And to be honest, hats off to the Kick Sauer as well for giving him some room there, because I would have probably forced him into the wall, but maybe I shouldn't condone that there, Alex. But overtaking's a fine art, isn't it, Knowlesley, where you certainly have to position the car, and you have to put a lot of faith in your skill then and ability, but some great overtakes there.
Yeah, some great overtakes. I think there's been some good good battling all over the grid and all over the season, I should say, from gold as well. Then, and I think, like I was saying earlier, it's the improvement in racecraft to race etiquette, that sort of thing, has been really good this season as well, and I'm hoping it continues. Obviously, as well, it's been fantastic to watch, and obviously racing as well in some cases where I've been lucky enough to be close enough. But no, I think everyone's massively improved the sort of wheel-to-wheel racing for the majority of the races as well this season. Like I said, it's a very long season, so you can get a bit weary. But no, I think everybody's managed to just sort of keep the respect or respect the other drivers who are around them on track, then, and try and race fairly and obviously race cleanly as well, then, which promotes good overtaking as well. Then, and we've seen seen three of them then in this season review already. Oh dear, I've just cursed him then. Sorry.
That was not one of them, but it does get a bit pinchy in that turn 1 and 2 free sector of Mexico, doesn't it? You mentioned about getting weary, and we've already mentioned. I keep seeing that Equals, sadly, but we mentioned about Equals there having a difficult start, but having a really good end of the season. You had a really good end of the season as well. Other drivers seem to peter off towards the end of the season as well. Sadly, and just having real troubles towards the end there. And because these seasons are so long, then, and do you feel that the pressure sometimes can get a bit too much then with these long seasons? And do you prefer like a short season, or potentially we could be having next season?
Somewhere in between, really. I think probably somewhere around sort of 18, 20 rounds or something was pretty good. Like I said, I think next season is going to be quite a good bit of fun actually, because there's some new things that we're bringing to ALR yet to be seen before in ALR league racing history. So yeah, that should be quite fun. But just spice it up a little bit then. But of course, it's just a quick one to get us over with before the new game comes out. I think probably end of May, isn't it? Roughly around there. So we'll be finishing a month or so before that comes out. So yeah, but anyway, yeah. Well, I'd say probably somewhere a balance between this sort of season that we've had in season 11 and probably next season, when it's season 12, where it's going to be about 16 rounds or so. So we need to sort of find a middle ground in there. Goodness me, that was a cent and a half, isn't it? But yes, find the middle ground somewhere in between sort of 16 and 24, I think, which is 20 if I'm not mistaken.
You know what? I think that we need to talk to the FIA and Formula One management there, really, because I do think that anything over 20 is probably a bit too much. As much as I love my racing, I think it is a bit. I think that Formula One over 20 races is not ideal, personally. But that's just my personal opinion, and we're not going to get too political tonight because, of course, it's Christmas and we're all meant to be having a good time. But anyway, yes, of course, gold this season. We have been focusing a lot about the championship fight, but we also need to focus about the rest of the grid as well, really, because I think at the start of the season we had 13 drivers that have won a Grand Prix, at least one race, which is absolutely redonkulous. That's over 50%. And of course, as we come to I think that's after the Italian Grand Prix, Percy had retaken the lead then. Sam Swift Ninja 10 Grand Prix wins this season. Percy, I think, had 9 or 8. Them guys just didn't share the wins at all. Remember the season before, we had 3 new Grand Prix winners. This season, I think we only had Menace, who won his first ever Grand Prix, if I'm not very much mistaken. Absolutely fantastic stuff indeed. Alex, when you're well, no, we're going for a award in a minute, aren't we? So I can't go off down a rabbit hole. Nope, let's go for driver of the season first, shall we? And of course, driver of the season. And third position is AC Immortal. We spoke about AC Immortal a lot this season. He's been absolutely supreme. 2 Grand Prix wins this season, 6 pole positions there. Joint highest with Menace, 8 podiums as well, 3 fastest laps, and only 1 DNF for AC Immortal. I think what's a travesty, though, is that he didn't have any Driver of the Day awards, which I think is absolutely shocking stuff indeed. But I think that's probably down to the consistency of Immortal in qualifying compared to the racer. So potentially that might be... potentially the Driver of the Day award is probably sounding a bit short there. Menace said, remember, this is Menace's first season in ALR, and Menace getting his first Grand Prix win as well this season. Fantastic stuff indeed there. The only thing that surprised me about Menace is I was expecting Menace to get that first Grand Prix win, which he did in the Belgian Grand Prix, right in front of us right now, but then didn't kick on. But he did have 13 podiums this season, and was kind of in no man's land, was in the championship there. But as Menace mentioned in the final stage of the season, then there is things that he can improve on. And of course, the champion himself, Sam Swift Ninja, a double world champion, the first man in ALR history to win 2 championships on 2 different different games. Absolutely supreme stuff indeed then in the same championship anyway, because German won it silver and gold, of course, out on 2 different games. But Sam Swift Ninja there, of course, a world champion once again there, and of course 10 Grand Prix wins with 17 podiums there. Supreme stuff indeed, and only 1 DNF there, but that DNF in Azerbaijan I thought was critical in the championship, Alex, between 2 drivers. It was very much then head and shoulders above the rest of the field. How difficult was it for the rest of the field then to just see that these 2 men just absolutely dominating week in, week out?
Yeah, well, I think he almost assigned to just either hoping that they have some sort of issue or just fighting for what's next, really, in terms of the point paying positions. But no, I think, like you said, I think it was Immortal as well who got a couple of wins, and Menace Max got that win in Belgium. Then I think, like you said, the rest of it was pretty much evenly shared then across the 2 of the top 2 who finished. I think it was about 20 rounds each, wasn't it, in total in the end? Then so yeah, it was pretty fantastic stuff indeed. And unfortunately, Percy dropped out at the end then as well because he had to go and do his football or something like that. So yeah, terrible decision there, but nonetheless. But yeah, I think Sam Swift then was well, he was on track. He was a deserved champion as well then, or candidate for a champion at least this season. And after last season, then looking to fight off the challenges then, which is very difficult indeed to do. I think we see it in lots of other sports as well then, but also in F1, it's very, very difficult indeed to just try and fight off your rivals, because you're the target, aren't you? You're the one who they need to beat, really, aren't they? So they are they sets the yardstick then from the previous season for Sam Swift, and he's gone and smashed it once again. So absolutely fantastic from Sam Swift, then fantastic from Menace Max there as well in P2, then in Ferrari, like you said, on his debut full time season in ALR, and of course Immortal then who just took to the charge, and especially in the latter half of the season as well. So fantastic stuff indeed from all 3.
I think Immortal was actually the most consistent in the final couple of races. Immortal from Mexico, this Grand Prix, right the way through. He finished on the podium in every single race in the last 5 Grand Prix, which was pretty impressive stuff indeed there for Immortal. And I think that kind of form can elevate you going forward. Remember Nico Rosberg in the 2016 championship. Remember 2020, 2020 what? I remember 2015, where he won those final 4 races there. Can Immortal emulate Nico Rosberg and maybe go for the challenge? Well, I'm really looking forward to next season. I cannot wait. And it's got to be fast and frantic action. We've already mentioned about the season being a lot shorter, which means that potentially, Alex, we're going to see drivers, well, I say drivers take it more steady. Well, this is a 24-round season or 23-round season, and they certainly aren't taking it steady, but I expect more frantic action because there's only 16 races there to really make your point.
Well, like I said, that could be the case. Yeah, you never know, but I'm hoping not, because just for the hell of it. But yeah, I think anything can happen. Like I said, in F1 racing, obviously with the shorter season, then it can lean itself to that sort of mentality, I suppose you could say. Goodness me, but yes. So as we can see, a short stint to the end of this race, and that's led to that sort of mentality from B Rabbit there. But yeah, so. I think, it can be a bit of a challenge, but like I said, I think hopefully next season will be, like I said, a good bit of fun for all divisions. That is not just gold, but because of course this new feature coming in then for ALR. But yeah, we'll touch on that then in the near future once the reviews are done and dusted. I think then, if it's not already. But yeah, so we'll enlighten everybody in the Discord on that one. But yeah, I think. Like I said, in terms of having a short season, you've got to maximise your points and you've got to maximise your performance. But again, you need to keep it clean and consistent at the same time, then to make sure you do both of those as well. So yeah, it's a combination of trying to get it all right then and juggling it whilst you're racing at a breakneck speed. So yeah, it's quite difficult.
Something that ALR has never had before. You know what I'm thinking? Far from having a clean race, but maybe I shouldn't say that, should I? Because let's be honest, he's meant to be my admin next season, so I've got to keep all my words soft and sweet. Before we end this, review, I want us to talk about some unsung heroes. Then, personally, for me, of course, we were talking about Sam Swift, but what about his teammate Chappers? I think that Chappers' qualifying this season has been superb. If we had a qualifier of the season, I think Chappers would have won that award or been second. He didn't have any pole positions there, of course, unlike Menace Max and, of course, ACM Multor. But Chappers was in the top 10 in qualifying 3 more often than not. And qualifying this season was absolutely supreme. The grid was usually separated by just about a second or under. That is redonkulous for 20 drivers. That's incredible stuff indeed. And also, I want to shout out to Legends as well, because Legends is one of those drivers that just keeps chipping away and getting some really good results in that Red Bull. And I think Red Bull really struggled this season with Boxtel really having issues there. But Legend had really picked up the mantle, so to speak, and really ran with it and helped Red Bull. Sadly, they did finish last in the constructors in the end, but I think the Legends did a really good job in that Red Bull. Alex, what do you think about any other unsung heroes across the grid in gold then?
Well, as I said at the beginning, I think there's 19 unsung heroes. Well, there's 19 heroes. Let's just say some of them are sung, some of them are unsung. But for this season, I have to say it's been an absolute pleasure to be the admin for Gold and to racing it as well, because it's been brilliant stuff week in, week out. And then, like I said, there's bumps and scrapes going on in league racing or in any racing that is as well. So it's to be expected, obviously. But I think overall, I think it has been the best season, genuinely the best season of Gold since I can remember, that is. But maybe not. Yeah, it's a cut. But yeah, I think no, it's been absolutely brilliant stuff indeed. And Sam Swift then rounding the Nigel Mansell corner then to take the championship as well in his second, and like you said, actually back-to-back championships as well. You missed that bit out, but back-to-back then as well. Then after switching from F123, where he won season 10 to season 11 on F124. So fantastic stuff indeed.
And you talk about yardstick. That is the he is the yardstick, Sam Swift Ninjas, and of course rewriting the history books there. He's got a long way to go still to match up to. Of course, I think that Emerson is probably still at the top of the standings with all the stats and everything, which I do love a good stat then. But Sam Swift is quickly closing them down, and Sam Swift, who wins a third title, I think will be then deemed the greatest ALR driver in history then, which is a massive coup. Well, for me anyway. Unluckiest driver then. Well, we've got a bit of an extra award here, haven't we? The most unluckiest driver, Keza's in there. My goodness me, it felt like Keza was involved in scrapes every single week. Unfortunately for Keza, to be honest though, it just swings and roundabouts. I think I remember Vettel basically being involved in like 4 first corner incidents in the first 4 races in 2008. And unfortunately for Keza then, he had a stellar year. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as good as what potentially he could have been. Toy Coin, always a brilliant qualifier, but again, like Keza, I was expecting Keza and Toy Coin to be challenging in the top 3 this season. Sadly, that didn't turn out quite well, and both drivers had awful luck then, just like that there. So I think that was only a slight tap in Toy Coin's suspension was completely damaged there, and what capped off a pretty miserable season for Toy Coin. And of course, we already spoke about Chappers is qualifying second to none this season. He's been absolutely supreme. But races, my goodness me, he didn't have any DNF Chappers, didn't, so let's stress that. And of course, he did race in every single Grand Prix. But Chappers always seems to have the rotten luck of these incidents there, sadly then. But that was a bit of a bonus award there, wasn't it? Well, maybe not award. I don't think we can really call it an award, can we? There's the final classification then. Sam Swift Ninja, the world champion, double world champion in ALR history. He is going to go for free next season, and I cannot wait then. Menace finishing runner-up then, and of course ACL Motor in third position then. I think those two are going to run in very close then, and do not forget the likes of Brabbit, Troye, Toy Coin, of course Lucas Percy making his 100th Grand Prix start on his return. I cannot wait for that. You can make the list is endless. Now Williams, congratulations, the most successful constructors champion in ALR history now, along with Renault. A really good stuff indeed there for Williams, and aiming to become the most constructors champion in ALR history next season as well then. So congratulations to the Williams team. Aston Martin finished second and Mercedes finished third. As you mentioned, Red Bull really struggling this season, but Legends did a very good job of hauling them out there. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to stop speaking. Enjoy the rest of your days, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.